Hey, this is Lucas with Hanson Media. I just figured out something that's going to speed up my video production workflow so much. You just need a couple things. I use the Logitech MX Master 3 mouse, the MX keyboard, and the Logi Options Plus software. Those are the only three things that you need. So let's get into it. Okay, so a lot of times what I run into when I'm video editing is I have a clip that's in about 60 frames per second or 59.94 frames per second, and my sequences are usually 23.976. What is super helpful is that when you can slow down those clips that are 60 frames per second, about 60 frames per second, they slow down to exactly 40%. You get a smooth, slow motion video, not so much audio. With that, I was always having to manually go in Premiere Pro, take a clip, select it, and then hit Command R, which is, I don't think, the default shortcut for speed / duration. It very well could be. I would hit Command R, then have to enter in what percentage I would want the clip to play at. I always put 42%, and after some quick math, I figured out that I can actually just put in 40%. Why does that make a difference? My muscle memory has become such that the 4 and the 2 on the keyboard are in whatever place they're in on my keyboard, and it works really well. I can click Command R, 42%, enter, either the numpad return key or the regular return key. It works great. But with 40%, the 4 and the 0 are pretty far apart on a regular keyboard on the top row of keys. On the numpad, they're not so far apart, but my hand is not used to going to 4-0 on the numpad rather than just doing 4-2 on the top row of numbers. And so therein lies the problem. The way that I fix this is through the Logi Options app. In that app, you have access to all your different peripherals that are from Logitech that are supported from Logi Options Plus. I have the MX Master 3, and so what I've done is in Premiere Pro specifically, I've created a smart action, and that smart action says that if Premiere Pro is open and on the MX Master 3, the forward button is pressed, that's the trigger. And then, if that happens, the keystroke, Command R, is hit, and then another keystroke, which is 4-0, and then enter on the numpad. I'm sure this will work the same way on the top row of keys, but I have not tested that. But I've recorded it with a fixed delay of 0.021 seconds. I've used it a handful of times right now. That is going to speed up my editing workflow so much because I don't have to fumble around with multiple hands doing things on the keyboard. It will actually go through in Premiere and it will do that action for me completely with just the press of one button. If we wanted to take a clip, so I have this clip from when I went to Priest Lake, and it's shot in 60 frames per second. I can come up here and say media file properties, shot at 60 frames per second. And if I change my sequence settings to 23.976, then it gets a little bit choppier because it is 60 frames per second footage. But what I would normally do is hit Command R, I would put in 42, and then hit enter, and then it slows down the footage. Looks pretty good. But what I could also do is hit Command R, put in 40, and then hit enter, and that works with a numpad. But without a numpad, I have to bring my right hand over and type in 40. Or this brand new way, I can select the clip, hit the forward button, and it just does it. If you blink, you might miss it. I can just set it and it goes, and that is it. That's all that there is to it. So I've created the smart action. It basically works as a macro for what I want it to do. So now I have a 60 frames per second clip that is slowed down by 40% with the click tap of one button, and it was super easy. So hopefully that helps you guys out quite a bit. It's going to help me out a ton with all my editing and having to slow down 4K 60 frame footage in a 23.976 timeline. If this helped you out, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what other macros you think are super helpful. See you in the next one.